primarily the National Senior Games Association is all about people 50 and over, and our mission is really to promote healthy lifestyles for adults through education, fitness, and sports for a population of 50 and over. We started back, and the first games were 1987, so that was back in St. Louis, and we've had games every 2 years, the national games, and that's what we're here in Cleveland for, is the national games. They're occurring now for these 13 days we've been here, and there are 19 medal sports that are going on that they can compete in, and they qualify to get here. So they go to a state event, and based on their performance in the state event, based on a placement, and then other sports like track, we have time standards. So if they meet a certain time, surpass a certain time, that's also another way they can qualify for track and field. So there's some different options on how they can get here. 49 states are running games, and the district plus the District of Columbia, and a lot of those they can go to are open. So even though you're living, say, you're living in California or living in Utah, there are some states that, say Ohio, you could come to their regular annual games and compete, even though you're not an Ohio resident. So it does give people a lot of opportunities to come and be involved with the movement. They can travel around the country, which some of them do, because they go and meet family and spend time with families, or just are sightseeing, and then tie in an opportunity to compete. So it's a lot of fun from fellowship and the fun that they have competing.
So it starts with the state games, and then if you qualify, you go to the national games.
That's correct, right. And the qualifying occurred in the even year. So really last year, 2012, between January 1st and December 31st, there were these multiple qualifiers. There were technically 50 of them that occurred throughout the year at different times that they were able to go to and participate, because at those events you do not necessarily have to qualify to get into. And you hop in, sign up for the sport that you want to try, and go for it. So it's pretty cool. Now we'll have almost 11,000 athletes here competing. So it's a lot of people.
And you talked about when the National Senior Games began, but can you explain maybe what brought this to fruition? How did this really get started? What inspired the National Senior Games? Really, it was a group of individuals. There were some senior games that were going on in different communities across the country, and there was nothing necessarily formalized for a national event. And there was a group of individuals that kind of sat around and said, we kind of hear, we see that maybe this community over here, or this county, or this city was doing an event for seniors. They really said, wow, wouldn't this be pretty cool if we could sit down and create a national event? Let these states have their own event based on that, then culminate into a national event. And there was a group of folks that in the St. Louis area that sat down and pulled it together and did the whole process of forming a board and writing articles of incorporations and getting bylaws adopted, and then putting together the first event, which they then conducted in St. Louis in 87 and also in 89. The first two games were actually held in St. Louis. So that's kind of where the beginning all started from, and it is definitely has grown from there. As I said, now there's 49 states and the District of Columbia that have their own event within their state, and they do those every year. So can you tell us a little bit more about the games? You said there are 15 events in the games? Is that the number you said?
Here we'll have 19 different sports that are going on. The one sport that is new this year is pickleball. That's an added sport to our official lineup. And we have a lot of the traditional sports that people would know of when they think of the Olympics. We have archery and badminton, bowling, cycling. We have racquetball, table tennis, track and field, triathlon, swimming, and then team sports, basketball, softball, and volleyball.
And you said pickleball was the new sport?
Yes.
And was this sport added by popular demand, or how does that work? How do sports get added?
Sure. It's been a while since we have actually added a sport into the senior games, and there are a lot of factors goes back, if you remember, we're having all the local states are involved because becomes a qualifier. So what's important is that sport has popularity throughout the country. Because if you're going to have a national event, you wouldn't just want to have this, maybe only half the country actually plays the sport. Well, then when you brought together to have a national event, it really wouldn't seem like a national event because half the country maybe doesn't even know the sport or really doesn't play the sport. So that's a big part of it, just the trend of the sport, the popularity of the sport. Pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports that's occurring, especially for this demographics that we have. And a lot of our local states have been adding that sport. So a lot of it comes from where our state folks have talked about. Some of it is looking at just in the world in general of sport trends that are occurring so that we would investigate and research and discuss back and forth. So that's really where it all started from. They themselves as a sport became very popular and were very targeted to this audience also that we have.
You mentioned that you don't have to be a resident of the state that you compete in to qualify for nationals, correct?
Right. For some of the states, they are what they call an open state, and they will let individuals in that are not residents compete in their games. From the qualifying process, then in order to not take away someone feeling like you're a resident of that state and feel, oh my goodness, here's 3 people from my neighboring state that came in and contested a little better than me, and now I finished 4th, and it basically bumped me out of the chance to go to nationals. We've created a kind of a qualifying down process so that in that state, they're at least guaranteed to have those top 3 people from that state be represented. They might be the 4th, 5th, and 6th person, so that at least that state will be able to have people qualify and then could represent their state at nationals.
And do all the state games, do they occur on the same day, or is it something where you could go to one state and compete, and then if you didn't do so well, go to another state and try again? Could you do something like that?
You can, and there are some that will do that. They will do it for multiple reasons. One would be, yes, they went to South Dakota, and they went there in March, and they didn't qualify, and so they then decided, well, let me go to New Jersey in September, and then I didn't qualify there, so let me try to go to Florida and qualify there in December. So some are doing it because of the fact they're still wanting a chance to qualify. Some are just going across the country and traveling. They're using it as just an opportunity to visit with friends and relatives, explore a new part of the country, part of a vacation package that they're doing. They're going to, tour Gettysburg, and at the same time they're going to go participate in the Pennsylvania Senior Games. So it's a really wide range. You've got a lot of people who are just know each other too, so they'll travel and meet and reconnect and see somebody at a different state and just have that fellowship time together. So that's really pretty neat. It's pretty special to see how they bond, and they're looking for people when they get here. It says, does anybody know so-and-so's here? And did you see so-and-so? And it's like almost like a fraternal group where they get together again and enjoy the time that they spend with one another.
And besides being a certain age, you said 50 is the starting age that you can compete?
Right. 50 is kind of the magic number, is when we start. You can be eligible when you turn 50.
Is there any other qualifications you need to compete?
That's it. It is just an age factor in order to get into your local games. And that's what we're really encouraging people to get out there, be involved, be active. And a lot of this then is shifting in our mindset about our personal best tour that we've put together that moves beyond just the field of play. We're known for the games. We've done the games since 1987. A lot of people know about it. It is a very big and special event. I mean, this is like the Senior Olympics. It's like the Olympics for seniors. So people are serious. They train, very competitive-minded about it. There's others that are coming just for the experience to get out and still be able to compete and have fun, socializing with everybody. So we've moved beyond the fact that it's not just about getting here and hopping on a medal platform and getting a medal. It's about getting out there and being active, involved, going through life's daily challenges and obstacles that everybody faces. And how do you move through it and keep inspiring yourself, but even more so inspiring others to get up and be out there and active and just create that whole trickle-down effect. So a lot of that for the personal best is just saying, just get out there and get involved. Go to a local event where the only thing is just at your age. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner at the sport or an elite person at that sport. Just go out and get that experience. And that's what we found on our personal best tour. And if you get a chance to check it out on our website, if you get on the NSGA.com site, under the news and events section, we have what's called the Personal Best Tour. And you were talking about what was inspiring you was the 80-year-old that had won all these medals and was out and competing at that age. If you take a moment and go read some of these stories, your hair on your arms will stick up and on the back of your neck and stuff. It's just incredible what people keep themselves moving. There's a gentleman who was an elite cyclist, fierce competitor. They called him Mark the Shark. He was at the top of his game. Had a massive stroke. Basically has paralysis on the half of his body, and obviously still to today. How do you manage to then get back and do the thing you like to do by riding a bike? Is one thing. How do you train yourself to be able to balance yourself and do that? But then to go back and get back into competitive cycling is a whole nother step that someone has to take. And that's what he's done. You can scratch your head and thinking, that is just unbelievable. And we have stories, just endless stories of that. I mean, with 11,000 athletes here, the uniqueness of the stories just goes on and on and on. But it's people that have inspired others to do things, to keep that just whole thing moving. I mean, we have a woman, Jackie Stevens out of Fairfax, Virginia, who was growing up, wanted to play basketball, was like the giant in her school, and everybody wanted her to play because she was so tall. And her parents, didn't want her to play because the family had some medical history of things that they were concerned that something would happen to her by playing, so they said no, she couldn't participate, and through her life just didn't get a chance to participate until she retired. And then found out about the senior games, went and joined a basketball team and played, and then she moved, and she couldn't find a team to play with. So she had two choices. One, okay, well then I guess I don't play basketball. Or two, I start forming a team to play basketball. And that's what she did. She helped with some other women, formed a league for senior women to play basketball, and have created multiple teams in the Virginia area, and several of them are here competing in the national games. So, here's somebody at a young age that didn't have an opportunity to do what she would love to really have done and make a dream come true for herself. She's 76 years old and is out there helping others, creating opportunities for others to then even inspire more. It's just those are the stories that, when you get a chance and you read that, I think, when you first heard your one story, I think you'll read some of these others and you'll just say, like, wow. You'll be like, I want to meet those people. So,
and those are from the personal best pages?
Yeah. Right. If you go to NationalSeniorGames, the NSGA.com page, and then across the top our tab will have our news events section. And then under the news events section, kind of a pull down, you'll see what's called the Personal Best Tour.
And those are the stories of people and their personal best and their inspiring experiences?
Exactly. How they've inspired people, how they've overcome something to then, keep themselves in a positive mental frame or physical mind, but even more that how they're touching the lives of other people and spreading the word of just get up, do something, be involved, be active, and go get involved in a local event. And if that's the level you're comfortable at and you don't feel you want to inspire to be at a national event, that's okay too. But that it also does give you an opportunity to go to a local event and potentially then get involved in a state event, and then basically you might do in a state event. You can go on to a national event. Keeping yourselves motivated by setting goals and objectives like all of us do, and I'm sure you do it yourself right now. So, even at an age of, 70, 80, and 90, why can't you still set goals for yourself and get out there and do it?
That sounds like a very positive message out there.
It really is, and we've had such a fun time meeting them. We have gone across the country here, meeting individuals. We had a stop in San Antonio. We were in Washington, D.C., Fort Jackson, South Carolina, Phoenix, Arizona, Chicago, Illinois, and Canton, Ohio. We had done some of these stops before we got here to Cleveland for the event and had a chance to meet some of those individuals, and then to see them again here, now in their competitive field of play, and they're just having such a great time. They really are. They just don't see that age is a factor that they can't do anything. That it's not too late for them to still be involved. It's never too late. And a lot of them maybe didn't really even get started until they're 60, 70, that they started picking up and participating, even playing in a sport. That's what's just sometimes even more mind-boggling when you think about it. By doing that, they're motivating so many other people. Just here in the local community in Cleveland, of course, there are lots of volunteers. There are about 3,000 volunteers that are helping run the event. And they're sitting on the sidelines watching as volunteers and seeing, and you just see their eyes, and they're just like, wow, holy mackerel. They're like, I can't believe there's something like this for people my age. I can do this. And now they've been inspired to want to know, well, how can I get involved? How do I participate in this thing? And that's what it's about. It becomes just a little wildfire that just starts to run inside everybody's heart and spirit that they're going to do it. I'm going to get involved. They're just all pumped up about it. It's just great. It's just, that energy is just so cool to be around. It really is. It's very inspiring.
How is this funded?
What it is, we do have sponsors, and we have two of our major national sponsors. One is Humana, and one is AstraZeneca. And through their kindness to us, because of them also knowing the importance of staying fit and being healthy and having sound mind and body, that they understand that this is an important piece of what they do and the message they want to send out to people. So Humana and AstraZeneca are just fantastic partners of ours. And then there are an entire list of other partners that have come to play here in the local community to bring the event here. It's 40, 50 other partners that see what value this brings to a community and how it brings a quality of life to the residents here, and something that becomes a lasting legacy beyond that. Here in the city knows that they can achieve this and they can get involved with other events or programs or projects, whatever it might be, and bring into the community. So, and then through that, and some personal contributions from individuals that see the importance of what we do and appreciate what we do, and they will submit personal contributions.
I've heard it sometimes called as the Senior Olympics too, and you said it's a lot like the Olympics. Can you explain the similarities? You said there's medals, they have the podiums and everything. Is that
right?
All how it goes?
True. Yeah. What we're trying to do is we're trying to create that experience. Obviously they are different, but the whole concept of multi-sport, that there's multi-sports occurring across the same time, that you're trying to create individuals through a qualifying process. As the Olympics does, you go through and you qualify at a certain level in order to advance, to participate. So you've earned the right to be here. And then as far as the rules are concerned, most of our rules are being played exactly the same as what is being played at the Olympics. Then we're also awarding them in kind of tradition of what the Olympics, when you'd see it, like last year in London, you'd see the first, second, and third, and they would get on their medal platform, and they would be awarded their medal, and kind of have that whole same feel. We do have a celebration similar to what the opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies. We have an arrival ceremony, the torch, the first day of the games, and then halfway through we have a celebration of athletes to recognize the athletes that are here and participating. So we're trying to keep a lot of the ideals of just even what the Olympics is all about, the spirit of the games, spirit of fellowship and fun and competitiveness, all kind of wrapped together.
And how long do they go for? Like how many weeks, or how long does it take?
Right, we started on July the 19th. and then went through August 1st. So we had 13 days that it went on for. So again, similar to what the Olympics is, in having a long competition. It's not just 2 or 3 days. It goes on for a multitude of days.
And so if you're in the midst of the games right now, can you give us some highlights of maybe exciting records or events that have happened so far?
Oh gosh, there has been a lot. There have been numerous records that have been broken, and numerous participation in certain events, certain sports that we've had increased numbers in. So we said pickleball is a new event for us here, so that's been very exciting for us. But the biggest thing is, we have a lot of people that have just enjoyed their time here. They feel that coming to the city, there was a very opening, warm reception from volunteers and people helping to run the event and helping people get around the city when they're asking questions. As far as the venues that we've used have been fine venues, and running the events have been in good shape. So most of the people really are walking away with just a great experience having participated in the games. But there are stories that just kind of keep going on and on and on. And the other way that you could kind of keep tabs of everything, which would be give you a good flavor of some of the neat stories, is in that same tab, that news and events section back on our website. If you hop to the one that calls about the daily games news, and that will take you to a whole page that then talks about, we'll have like stories, written stories and pictures of the games that will tell you things that people have done throughout the games, and you'll have a little more interesting human interest stories that, again, you'll pop up and read and be like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's amazing, that somebody has been able to do it. And you'll see different people who maybe have broken records. Yeah, it's pretty incredible when you sit and see the magnitude of it all.
And that's constantly being updated as the games progress?
Right. That site, that news site is each day. It's like a live news feed. So it's kind of information from the day or history or interests or stories of the day are being put up on that website.
One final question. What do you see for the future of the National Senior Games? Do you see this going internationally, or what's in the future?
As far as nationally is concerned, and what we want to see is we want to see more people involved in their local and state to drive just that whole message across about getting out, being active, being fit, going for your personal best. Everybody can achieve that. From that, obviously, there might be more people who would then qualify for the National Games, and from that standpoint, then some more people would come and participate in the National Games. As far as taking it to a different type of an event, like an international event or a global games or international games, yes, that's something that is tossed around and thought about. What's next? Because that's what usually people ask. And as you as a competitor, I'm sure when you were competing in track, if you would go to, you went to your state meet or county meet, you went and you participated in your county meet and you won in your county meet, you'd be like, okay, what do I do next? Okay, well, we go to state. Okay, then we win state. Okay, now where do we go next? We go to nationals. And if we win nationals, where do we go next? So same type of concept. So really the next thing would be, okay, if you're winning nationals, then where do you go? And the idea would be, do we have some type of international event?
And you also plan to continue the Personal Best Tour as well?
We do. Personal Best Tour is going to continue. We're working on some stops now for the fall. And then with the idea that would be something that would carry on. It's something we just started this year, and it's just been really a fantastic way to spread a message about health and wellness. And we've had such great, wonderful response to the whole thing that we're going to continue that tour, definitely. Really, it's just the main thing is this. We just want people to get out, be active, involved, know that you can start at any time. The old saying was just do it. I mean, that's really what it is. Be out there, be engaged. There is something out there for you. You may have to find it. You may have to work a little harder. And you know what? If it's not there, then start it. And that's what we're doing with these Personal Best. These people have inspired others because maybe their opportunity wasn't right there in front of them, and they could have just walked away and said, well, I guess I can't do it. Instead, they have found a way to make it happen not just for themselves, but for an entire community and people across their state. And that's what we want. We want to charge people to do that, to get out and spread the message about going after your personal best.